if you're a long time listener to the podcast, you know my infinity love for the Toronto Wolfpack. But most importantly, number 5 in your programs, number 1 in your heart, Mr. Liam K on the line.
How we doing, brother?
I'm well. I am well. Thank you for doing this, my man.
Yeah, it's no problem, man. It's a pleasure to be on here.
Awesome. So, I have a bunch of questions to ask you. But first off, we met once upon a time, a slightly drunken state in my case, and probably an exhausted case in your case. And I didn't really understand the magnitude of everything. But when I asked you, you didn't have any social medias. You said, no, you don't do that kind of stuff. But then just a couple of weeks ago, you had liked one of my old posts that we'd done about 3 years ago, kind of a little tongue-in-cheek, and you liked that post, and my head exploded. So thank you for that.
I just thought I'd give it a go. You know how it is.
Man, I laughed so hard. I couldn't believe that. I also chatted up some of my buddies on the podcast, just be like, you're not going to believe this, but guess who finally saw this video we made 3 years ago?
Yeah.
So,
I saw it before, but I have seen it before. Then I just decided to take the punt and come on to it, and then obviously I figured out how to see posts that included myself. So I just had a little look around, and I see yours, and of course hit the like button.
Oh, I appreciate my man. Definitely made my day. And, a lot of times those videos go unseen, but just the fact that we had a little fun with it and you saw it, it makes my day. So thank you for that again.
Nah, it's cool, man. I enjoyed it. It's cool.
All right. There's a lot I want to talk about, a lot I want to get on, and I don't want to take up too much of your time. I understand you got training and everything else to do. Plus, with the time difference, this is probably the earliest podcast I've ever recorded.
I do apologize for that.
Hey, it is what it is, my man. Okay, so first off, I need to know, when you first heard the rumblings of a possible Canadian rugby team playing in England, and the first transatlantic team, what were your thoughts on that before, of course, the signing and everything like that?
I need to be involved in this. That's basically how it came about. I was just like, I need to do something different. I kind of went through a bit of a bad phase when I was playing rugby, not really enjoying it and stuff like that. And as soon as I heard that there might be a team in Canada playing games in England and Canada, I was like, I need to be a part of this. So I did what I could and made it happen.
That's so amazing. And were you concerned about, not too much foresighting, but were you concerned about the travel or, ownership or anything like that? Were you worried that the accommodations might not be up to snuff?
100%. That played on my mind massively. Flying back and forth, playing fixtures in England and in Canada. Who's in charge of the club? What happens when we're over there? Where we stay in? All these thoughts came into my head, but it was kind of let's say just a jump into the deep end of the pool. I was at a great club in Lee Centurions, and but I got to a point in my career I was like, I just need some excitement, and I thought, why not jump in and see if it works. If it doesn't work, then hopefully I can find a different club elsewhere. But obviously it paid off. So yeah.
Well, the Centurions are kind of a model franchise too. If you're going to leave them, there's got to be something greener, right?
Yeah, of course. I left Lee Centurions probably not on the best note that I would have liked to, and that was all down to Toronto. Really, that was my passion to sign for Toronto, of why I left Lee. So it was, like you say, it was like a franchise to leave Lee Centurions, but. I was at that point, and I was just like, I want to do something crazy. I want to do something like completely different. I want to just do something, and then obviously, it panned out that the Toronto Wolfpack would be made, and obviously that I'd signed for him. So I was well happy. Let's say.
And what was the buzz with the players? Were the players around the league interested in it, or did they think it was some kind of gimmick that might just bring some new excitement to the league?
I think there was a bit of a mixture of both. Obviously, I'm not sure if you followed rugby league in England before the Toronto Wolfpack came around, but in terms of expanding the rugby league game, it never really worked. So we tried expanding like Wales with the Celtic Crusaders. They ended up going into administration and folding, unfortunately. But we tried expanding into London and stuff like that, and it's just never really works. And I think the whole mindset of the English uh, um, the English fans, if you will probably just think, oh, it's going to be another expansion failure. So we'll just let it get on with itself and then let it die off. That's kind of the impression I got with it.
I just a little background on myself. I didn't know anything about rugby until the Wolfpack were announced. I started to learn a little bit about it, and I don't know if this is going to translate correctly, but I'm sure you've watched the TV show Friends.
Yeah. Oh yeah, big favorite, TV show favorite. That.
Okay, well, excellent. There's that one episode where Ross is dating the English girl, and he goes to play rugby. That's kind of the extent that I knew of rugby, and so I didn't know a ton about it, and I just learned on the fly. And I don't like American football, so for me, it was a way to enjoy. I don't want to say a similar game, but a somewhat similar game. And I was a brand new fan, so you were the first signing from the Wolfpack. Quite an amazing accomplishment, I think. If they're handpicking players, it's quite amazing that you're number one pick. Was that a big honor for you? How did that work out for you, or was it just another signing?
No, of course it was a massive honor, and obviously to the club of where it's at now. Obviously, take COVID-19 out of it, but we signed Sonny Bill Williams this year, and obviously for me to be a part of a club that's signing global superstars like that, for me being the person that started it and was the first signing, it's a massive privilege. That's why I'll always have like a special place in my heart for Toronto. I'll always be a fan of the club. But it's definitely an honour to be the first signing of the club.
That's amazing. What were you? Did you have impressions of the city before making the trips over?
Never had I'll be honest, not really. Obviously if you look for a holiday as a UK citizen, like you think Canada, probably not. It's more like Miami, Florida, or places like that. You think if you want to travel over the Atlantic, you don't really think of Toronto as a kind of holiday destination. But I was really taken back when I first got to Toronto. I was just like, this place is crazy, and it suits me down to the ground exactly. Like my personality fits in well with this city. So yeah, I loved it.
It is a world-class city. A lot of people, it might be underrated until you get here, and then when we blow your tits off once you get here.
That's it. Oh, my mates are like, what's it like? And I'm just like, you just need to get over there. Like, you just need to experience it. It's something like, I've always said if I'd known about Toronto when I was a little bit younger, when I was, a little party animal and I was going to like Ibiza and stuff like that, I'd have thought, nah, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to go to Toronto instead. Just crazy.
And it's so funny because being from the area, the dream is to go to London, go to England, go to Ibiza, and hit across the Atlantic.
I don't know why you'd want to come here.
Yeah,
you'd want to come over here.
Well, we're gonna get into it later, but as I've already expressed to you, I'm a huge Oasis fan. So I need to check out Manchester. Just to check out Manchester, I want to go to the Mixer. I want to have a pint at the Mixer. I want to kind of do the Oasis tour, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So, when you're traveling across the Atlantic for games, what do you do to prep yourself for that? Because this is something uncharted. We hear about sometimes some NHL teams going to play in Europe, but when you're doing it on a bi-weekly basis, how difficult is that as an athlete to keep your training and your regimen and of course your body rested?
Well, you kind of get used to it. It's weird to say that you do get used to like jet lag. You kind of get used to what works for you. When I've done all sorts of things on the flight over to Canada because it's a different kettle of fish when you're coming back from Canada. Obviously, when you're coming back, when we fly, it's usually night time, so you just got to try and get your head down. And obviously, when you wake up, it's the morning in the UK. So that the flight back's always difficult, and it's usually dealt with a hangover as well. There's always a hangover on the flight back. But on the flight there, yeah, I've done all sorts of things. Like I think we had a 7-hour game of poker. Don't ask me how we achieved that on a economy flight, but we managed it. I think there was 7 of us, and we played a full game of poker for like 7 hours.
Who came out on
massive, top? It was yours truly. I think it was. Yeah, it was me.
You got the legs and the poker face, man. Liam, are you the total package? What's going on?
No, I'm just a good cards player, I guess. But no, like I've done all sorts.
Can you talk a little bit about the backlash of some of your friends in the league that may not be part of the Wolfpack when Wolfpack start to spend money on big name players?
What do you mean by that? Carry on.
Well, did you feel like there was any backlash? I know at the fans' point of view on some of the fan groups, there was a lot of, we'd have fans from other clubs just talking a lot of smack about, the Wolfpack flexing the wallet a little bit, breaking payroll, that kind of stuff.
Well, let's face it, when are not fans talking smack about Wolfpack, they've had to deal with it the whole time it's been alive. It's had to deal with absolute negativity all over social media. So like, I think there's literally a handful of people that talk positive about it. In terms of the backlash and stuff like that, as a team, you don't really see it as that. You're getting a quality player. You're not getting someone that's being overpaid kind of thing for what they do. Albeit, let's say Sonny Bill with his contract, but I don't know the ins and outs of his contract. So as a team, we just take it as a pinch of salt, and we just get on with it. We're all equal at the end of the day when it comes to that kind of salary talk. Do you know what I mean? Like it's something that's like it could be like the elephant in the room, but you just don't treat it. You just don't go there. It's something I'm sure probably a lot of sportsmen might tell you. You don't discuss each other's salaries, and it's not really a backlash. When we've played in League One, in my opinion, we had a championship winning team. So obviously we started in League One, then Championship, then the Super League. But I think in League One we had a championship team, and obviously when you move up to the Championship, some players left and got replaced with other players, albeit maybe on some more money. But the club had a vision, and David Argyle's vision was to get to Super League within 5 years. So I think we achieved that, and that was just by the clubs, what they were prepared to do player-wise, I think.
I have to say, when I was learning about rugby and the Wolfpack, I would talk to my friends who knew a little bit about rugby, but I also talked to other people in the stands at Lamport, and people were saying, I remember that first game, I'm sure you remember too, it was a rainy, damp day. It wasn't much fun to sit on the concrete blocks at Lamport. I'm sure it wasn't a lot of fun to play in, but I remember people saying at that point, this team should be in Championship League. Like it's way too good for League One. But I think the goal was just to prove a point that the governing body didn't want to put the Wolfpack in Champions League off the hop, right? So you guys were out to prove a point, and I think you did that every game, winning by at least 40 points every game.
Yeah, I mean, I think I got sent off that first game, actually. That was against Oxford, wasn't it? I think there was a big fight that happened that game. That's probably why the Canadians loved it.
You're probably right.
But no, look, we had to start from the bottom. It was a new team coming in, and it had all these points of why Toronto should be playing rugby league in England and all this, and then the RFL saw it as well. You've got to start from the bottom, like any other team would have to, really. So we started from the bottom, and when we worked our way up. But everyone's we were dominant in that first year in League One, but forgetting we didn't go undefeated. We actually got beaten by York that year in the first round of the playoffs. Whether that were complacency, I don't know, but people underestimate that League One. They see it as an easy league and stuff, but there's I've got a lot of friends that play it, and it's a difficult league. I'd be interested with the Ottawa going into the league next year. See how they get on in comparison to how Toronto Wolfpack got on. It'd be an interesting sight to see. But you've got to start from the bottom, in my opinion. You've got to earn the respect as you go. Personally, I still don't think Toronto earned respect of a lot because obviously, like you touched on before, there were, what they were spending on players and stuff like that. A lot of people will say that they bought their way to the Super League, by buying expensive players and stuff like that. But there were a handful and core team of players that started from 2017 all the way into Super League. I think there was about 6 or 7 left. And I think there's about 4 or 5 now, but people forget that.
I'm going to ask you about some of those original guys a little bit later, so we can hold off on some of those names because I have some questions that hopefully you can answer about some of those guys.
Yeah.
All right. So tell me about the first championship, 2017. Tell me about this. How you felt about the season and into the playoffs, and of course that first championship for Toronto.
Well, it was a must-win season. The season had to be successful. If we didn't get promoted that first season, I'm not sure where the Toronto Wolfpack would have gone. So it was a must-win season, and obviously, like I say, we got beat by York in the first round of the playoffs. But apart from that, we were pretty dominant throughout, and we made a real statement. And in my opinion, we did have a championship contender, maybe like a top 4 or top 2 championship team in that first year. But yeah, I'm not sure. You might correct me if I'm wrong here, but up until 2017, I'm not sure that any Toronto team had won a championship for X amount of years. I'm not sure if that you might correct me on that, but I remember someone saying to me it's the first silverware that the Toronto as a city have seen in quite a while, and obviously before the infamous. The Raptors before they won the NBA.
The big Raptors win, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not too far off. It had probably been close to 20 years since a major championship, and the Wolfpack win coupled with the Toronto Marlies win in the AHL hockey, and then of course the MLS, the TFC winning the MLS championship, all 2017. So that was a big year for the city.
Yeah, and it was a pleasure to be a part of it. So. It would kind of. When I came over to the city, I remember the first thing that I noticed when we was driving from the airport. It was we were driving past what was called the Air Canada Centre then, and I noticed that the sports teams had their logo up on the building just off the Gardner Expressway. Up to the left, they had the Raptors, the Blue Jays, the help me out here.
The Leafs.
Leafs. Yeah, and they had the TFC as well. So it was like I was like, oh, we need to get our logo up there, and obviously that's why 2017 was such a crucial season.
And when you compare to the second championship Toronto had, what were the big? I mean, obviously the step up in the league was a big deal, but can you talk about the differences and maybe how you felt about those differences?
Yeah. Like I say, people underestimate the League One. It's a very physical league. But as I've played in all 3 leagues now, and as you step up a league and go up, the game gets a lot faster. So obviously we needed to adapt to that. And we had a great coach in Paul Rowley that's vastly experienced in winning championships. So we were under no illusion how difficult that season was going to be in comparison to the first year. We don't get me wrong, like I say, the first year was difficult, but we knew that we had to probably step it up a couple of gears in terms of the championship season. So we had to prepare well, and we did. To be fair, we took the season very seriously. And we finished top of the league. So don't get me wrong, we unfortunately didn't win the £1 million game that year. That was written in the stars for London that year, but we pretty much went with the same team the year after and got the job done.
And that isn't that gone down in rugby history as the lowest scoring £1 million game?
Yeah, I think it's up there. There was no try scored in it, so
no, yeah,
it's up there.
Like,
I mean, I think
4-2 or something like that.
Yeah, the lowest scoring £1 million game. I mean, I remember witnessing a game when I was younger that was 1-0. It was just a drop goal. But no, I think it is the lowest scoring £1 million game, and We'd have won if Gaz O'Brien could kick goals that day. And he'll kill me for saying that. But when I was watching and I was just like, kick it over, Gob, you dickhead, let's go. But no, it was written after.
Going back to the first game at Lamport Field, I'm sure the team knew about some fanfare, but were you guys, you especially, because you'd been with the team for so long, you saw the crowds grow, especially to our last season, the most recent season. Sellouts. The team was catching on fire. Were you guys nervous that first game that there might be only 10 people in the stands?
Yeah, like I've been asked this question a few times before, and I'll always give the same answer. Like, I went out for warm up, obviously, and when you go out for warm up in the UK, you've got probably 60% of your fans in the stadium, ready to watch the game. Especially when you come into the end of your warm up, everyone's pretty much sat down in the seat and ready to watch. But I came out for warm up when we played Oxford that first time, and I remember looking around. I was just like, "Oh, maybe I might have made a mistake here. This is not good." And then as the game went on, obviously, when you're playing the game, you don't really take notice of the fans. If I'm being honest, you don't really interact with the fans. You don't really take notice of what's going on in the stadium. But I couldn't help but notice, like, just more people, like, just coming in, and I was just like looking around to the lads and going, "Where are all these people coming from?" And then I got told after the game, it's Toronto time. Some people turn up half an hour late. Some people stay for half an hour, then leave, and I'm just like, this is so different. But like you say, I've seen it grow and grow, and it's just the £1 million game against Featherstone last year was just insane.
And do you take a lot of pride in the growth of the Wolfpack? I mean, you can consider yourself one of the founding fathers of the team, at least the players that are putting in the hard work. How proud of you are of the club growing the sport in North America?
Yeah, vastly proud, and I think it'll be such a shame if the Cap pull through this difficult time with COVID-19. It probably leave me a little bit heartbroken, really. But I'm sure they will, and I'm sure they're going to pull through it. But introducing, I don't know if that's the right word, introducing rugby league to North America, because I'm sure there's clubs out there that do play rugby league, but being the first transatlantic team to play in I think it's the first professional rugby league team is, it's something to be very proud of. And I put one of my very first Instagram photos. I put an old team photo up, and it was all the lads with a couple of missing faces from the 2017 season. And and I'll be forever grateful and hold the utmost respect for them players that took that leap of faith in the first year, because we came to Toronto not knowing what it was going to be like. For all we knew, it could have been an absolute flop and and completely failed. But like I say, it was our destiny and written in the stars for us to bring it over to Canada and succeed. So no, it was vastly
spoken like a true Noel Gallagher lyric, my friend. Written in the stars. I love it. Okay, so can I ask you a small? Your fame had grown, because I remember going through the team roster back in 2017, just trying to familiarize myself a little bit with the team. I had a small connection. A friend of mine works for rugby league in the UK, and she gave me the recommendation, and so I was able to talk to a couple of players. A lot of players were a lot of fun, but your popularity grew a lot the more your hair grew. Did you see that tie in as well?
Yeah, I did. I don't think I'd have been half as popular if I just had my old haircut, which was short.
I agree.
Side styled. I don't know. I think people are a fan of their hair more than than me and my personality. But which is strange, actually, because everyone hates my hair in England. So it's it's like
really
when you well, everyone's you'd be playing, people would be telling you to get an haircut and everything, but and I did realise that I had my own, not run by me, but somebody, I don't know who to this day, had a Twitter account for my hair. So whoever that was,
That's a great idea.
Thanks. Yeah.
Well, that leads me into my next question. One of the part owners of the Wolf Pack also owns a hair company, Wolf, named
Yeah.
after me. I think the Wolf Pack. And oddly enough, I don't know if you remember, but I work in a salon, and we were about to bring the line in, and I was chatting with their head stylist, who was talking about you guys, and I guess she did some of the work on your photo shoot.
Yeah.
What kind of experience was that? Did you expect something like that? Because that seems, I mean, not many rugby players are also hair models. How does that happen?
You tell me. I have no idea how it happened. I mean, I just got the call from Argyle, and he was just like, I need you a favour from you to come and do this photo shoot." Albeit, I will say on the record that I actually did not receive any of the hair products. Every single player in the team did, apart from me. I was good.
What? What happened?
I know.
You never washed your hair. That's why.
Well, I was injured one after the £1 million game in 2018. That's when they all received it. So. But no, I enjoy I enjoyed doing it. I got some good pictures out of it. You know, they
Yeah,
kind of
totally.
boosted my confidence a little bit. Yeah.
Not that you needed it, right? Come on.
You've got to have swagger. Come on.
Fair enough. And I gotta ask you this too. I imagine a lot. Like I enjoy a lot of British influence fashion and hair, of course. I mean, as a hairstylist, we always look at English stylists as some of the best in the world. Beautiful work with textures and fading. So are all your mates getting fades, and you're the one bloke with long hair?
Well, I will say this. I don't think the boys that used to get the fade, as you will, managed to find an actual person that could give a proper fade up until maybe 2019. So
Yeah.
we always used to laugh in the team because obviously it's so different in Canada. And I mean that with obviously with respect. I don't mean I'm not taking some of the hairstyles that was being produced. Let's just say I was thankful that I had long hair. Let's put it that way.
Are you specifically talking about Blake Wallace and his bleach blonde hair?
Oh well, that's one. Craig Hall was another one in the first year.
Oh yes, Captain Charisma.
He had he had a belter. I've got a video on my phone actually. I can send you it, and we just started laughing when we saw it. It was hilarious. But there has been. We called Blake Wallace. Was getting called John Cena at one point, and he's getting his bleach blonde hair to try to disguise the fact he's had a shit haircut. So it's just like, come on. But the boys literally they tried the hardest. But it's strange as well because obviously Toronto's a big city. We compare it to like living in London in England because obviously prices and stuff like that. But the boys are paying like $50 for a haircut, which is a sin in England really. A lot of the boys will pay maybe 10, 15, maybe £20 maximum, which is like $30, $40 or whatever. It's just like, wow, you're paying completely mad over prices and you're not even getting the haircut you want. So I was just
I gotta imagine it's tough, right? Not only are you in a new city, you're in a new country, so you really need to build those relationships to find a good barber. I wish I'd known. I would have set you guys up right.
Well, like I say, when we got when we had the photo shoots done and stuff like that, they were brilliant. They were fine. But obviously, when you're out and about and you're trying to find a barber, as some of the boys did, and they just drop into a random one, not even checking reviews or even looking at people that are coming out before them. They're just getting it done, and it's just like it just became a joke. It was so funny.
Well, I mean, I think that adds to team building as well, right? Who's gonna have the most shit haircut?
Well, I'd probably go for Blake Wallace. He's always a shit haircut.
Blake takes a lot of abuse, but he's good sport about it.
Oh yeah, he's class. I wouldn't change Blake for the world. He dyed his hair because he lost a game on FIFA on the PlayStation. But he was just like, oh yeah, let's roll with it, let's go. So
let's do it.
He's a sport.
He just got married too, right?
Yeah, he did.
He good for him.
He sent me a video of him getting absolutely blind drunk, and then he had a Madonna song in the background, and he was like, "This is for you," and I'm just like, "You need to go to bed, man." And then literally, it must have been half a day later. I'm like, he just told me he got married. Actually, I totally forgot. And I had to go back on the chat. I was like, mate, did you just say you got married? Because I was in the impression he was getting married in Hawaii, like either next year or the year after or something like that, which I think they are still planning on having some sort of ceremony over there. But he just I just got married. And that just sums Blake up, really, as a person. He's just like, just do it.
He married a Canadian girl, right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Canadian Kel.
Look at that. Look at that. Well, hey.
There's a lot of people. Do you know what? There's a lot of people that have been involved with the club that have either moved to Toronto. You know, one of our old statsman. He was involved with us. He's actually moved to Toronto now with his partner. There has been, you know, Tom Dempsey from the first year.
Yeah.
The big chest Dempsey. He now lives in Toronto. So you've got to be careful when you sign for Toronto Wolfpack because you might end up not, you know, leaving England.
That might not be the worst
Australia.
thing. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know whose weather is better. I think it's kind of across the board the same, but
I can assure you, it's not England.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. So there's a couple more questions I want to get into before we get into some fan questions. We've got a handful of fan questions, and I'm grateful for that. But first, I need to know because I'm a style guy. I think you're a style guy. I need to know what is your favorite kit from the Wolfpack history.
It's definitely the white one with the wolf.
Okay, so what was it? That was 20. The one with the wolf. They had the original one.
The original one that was 2017. Yeah.
Those Kappa kits were my favorite too.
Yeah, they were. I mean, the ISC. Don't get me wrong, they were still nice, but there was just generic kits in my opinion. They were just kits that were maybe templated for another team and just whacked a Toronto Wolfpack badge on it. But the actual Kappa one from the first year, the white one especially with the wolf in the background, it was just. I think that was. I'm
actually looking at it right now.
Well, I actually gave mine away to a fan, my actual playing jersey at the end of the game that year. So I've had to ask the kit man Simon Gelder if he's got an old one that he can give me. So I'm going to get it framed. But
that's good.
I can give it mine away.
Simon's actually a really good follow on Instagram too. He's always got great pics.
Oh yeah, he's a great man. Like I say, he's wonderful to be around. He's a good kit man as well. Very good kit man.
Simon.Gelder, if you want to follow him on Instagram, he's a good follow. And if you want a little bit behind the scenes, he's got that for you.
Yeah. Shout out to Simon.
All right, I wanted to mention one memory I had from season 1, and you guys had just squashed the Newcastle Thunder, and the crazy amount of noise that was coming from the locker rooms, and I couldn't figure out. Lampport's kind of interesting. Like, it's not the best facility, but you on the exit, you saw the visiting team locker room, and those boys losing their minds. Is that a Newcastle thing, or is that just a bunch of guys excited to be in a different country and ready to taste the town?
I think they were ready to just taste the town. I think they just wanted to be. I'm not going to disrespect them and say they kind of knew they were going to lose. Obviously, they were going to turn up and play, but they were coming up against us. And obviously, I think if I was on the Newcastle team coming over to Toronto for the first time or whatever, I'd be like, I just want to get out and see the city. I don't even want to play rugby. Like, I want to just go see the city and explore and do a bit of sightseeing and stuff like that. So maybe they had that in the back of their minds. And obviously, like I say, they were coming up against, a team that we were crushing people left, right, and centre that year. So,
I have to imagine as well, just to be excited to get out of Newcastle.
Do you know? Believe it or not, it's actually not a bad place, Newcastle. It's got its. It's like every place in England. It's got its ups and downs. Its areas that you don't want to go to. But
my wife and I have become huge fans of this ridiculous show called Geordie Shore. Which is
when
where
I had short hair, I used to get compared to to a person in that show called Gaz.
Who?
When I had that Gaz.
Mr. Parsnip. Yeah.
Yeah, you know more than me, but yeah, everyone used to say, Gaz Geordie Shore, and I'm just like, I don't watch it, man. I don't know who that is. That's when I used to have short hair anyway. So I don't know. Maybe you could see the resemblance.
You know what? Maybe I'm gonna have to look at old photos, but I'm not gonna go that deep. Gaz was one of my favorite characters on the show, but I'm glad you never watched it because it sucked. The show is horrible. It's trash TV, but we get into it. You got to make the wife happy. You know how it is. So
happy wife, happy life.
That's what I hear. Okay, so before we get into fan questions, I need to ask you about some of your either impressions of, or if you have an impression of a player, but I'm going to name these guys off. Maybe you can give me a funny story or an impression of them or something like that. Some of my favorites here. Well, first off, big Adam Sidlow. Give me a good story on him, or something funny, or characteristic that he does that you guys have a good laugh at.
So basically, Ziggy, as well, obviously that's his nickname, Ziggy we call him. We used to call him the chief worrier because he literally worries about everything. And obviously the first year, I remember walking into his room, and he must have been missing his wife and kid that much. He had photos up of them and candles lit, and I was just like, this is like a shrine. Like, this is like someone's died, and you're like remembering them. I'm like, you're gonna make this harder on yourself, being away from your family if you've got all these candles lit and stuff, and you're worrying all the time. I said, you just need to take your mind off it and keep busy, and then. And then obviously moving on to that, says you need to get yourself a PlayStation, because we were all really hooked on the PlayStation when we lived in Canada. Like, there's not much to do through the day. You go for a coffee with the boys or something like that. But as soon as you get back, you're on your PlayStation. You're playing Fortnite basically. And Adam Sidlow was like, no, I'm not getting on that. I'm not getting on that because he's got a really addictive personality. He says, I'm not getting on that because if I get on that, he goes, that'll be it. I won't come off it. So all right, no worries. So 2017 done, and then midway through 2018 to 2019, Adam Sidlow pops up because when Jake Emmett left the club, he left his PlayStation in Canada, and obviously he said to Ziggy, "Oh, you can have my PlayStation," So then that was the beginning of the end for Adam Sidlow. He was absolutely hooked on Fortnite. Every time he was like, yeah, we need to play. So he gets home and he buys his kids 2 PlayStations, and obviously his kids are hooked as well, and he's jumping on any games he can. Like, at one point I was playing with Adam Sidlow, obviously playing with Ziggy, and then one game I'm playing with his kid Ethan just to keep the kids happy so that Ziggy can come back on the game after.
That's so funny.
So, he's an addicted guy, but you won't meet a better bloke than him, really. He's a really good fella. He's got a lot of time.
He always seemed like an awesome guy, and I always appreciate his size and the way he plays too. So that's a great story on Big Sid. Okay, you mentioned Jake Emmett, and I totally forgot, but he gave me a great interview early on, and he was such a nice guy. I totally forgot, and I miss him. So Jake, if you're listening to this, you got a lot of love in the city, my man. All right, the next I need to know about is your good broski, Mr. Andrew Dixon.
Andrew Dixon. So I was actually played with Dicko at Lee, and it was hard. Obviously, he was in a relationship in the 2017, so it was hard to get him out. When you want to hit the dance floor and stuff like that. But when it did come out, my God, you've never seen someone dance as well as Andrew Dixon. We actually, I've got a video for you. Actually, I might share it for you. But it's when we first joined. Obviously, when the Wolfpack was first made, so we started training in the October, and obviously December come. It's the Christmas team drink. You had initiations and what you had to do, and me and Dicko actually reenacted the dance off from American Pie 3. It's with Stifler and it's with the gay fella.
Yeah.
So them two have a dance off, and obviously me and Dicko reenacted that. And I'd like to say we reenacted it to perfection. He was Stifler and I was the other guy. But I'll send you it across. I'll share it with you. It'll go down in history as one of my best initiations I've ever done anyway.
Well done. I gotta say, I really enjoyed the progression that Andrew Dixon's had, or Dicko, that's an even better nickname, has had from League One to today. You saw the mask he put on, and his play's just gotten so much better. I really seen I think him specifically, his growth has been amazing over the last 3 and 4 seasons.
Yeah. Well, he's always been a Super League player. Like, he's played in grand finals and stuff in Super League. He's always been a Super League player. In terms of what you said there with his growth, I think he was experimenting a little bit when we first came to Toronto. Obviously, he was experimenting with his weight and different styles and how he wanted to play. Because ever since I've known him, he's been quite thick. Do you know what I mean? He's quite big. And then the first season, he dropped his weight quite a lot. I don't know if that was for endurance or speed or whatever. I mean, you'd probably have to ask him, but I think he was experimenting, and then obviously he's just gone back to what I always know. But he's a reliable player. He's good to play with because if you want a job doing, he'll do it. So he is a top player.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, we're gonna get into some fan questions. You're good. You're good for a little bit longer. I don't want to take too much of your time up.
Nah, yeah, I'm sweet. Yeah.
All right, awesome, my man. All right, first one comes from Dave DeFrancesca. He wants to know how hard is it to play in a different country with a new franchise like the Wolfpack? We touched on it a little bit, but if you had anything to add.
Well, we've touched on it a bit. Obviously, it was hard, but once you get over the fact that you've got to travel 7 hours, I think it's relatively easy. I think the fans in Canada make your life easy as well. It's a hard place to come. Whenever we seem to play at Toronto, it always seems to be like 40 degrees. But I don't know if that's down to the plastic pitch as well that we play on. If it's 30 degrees in the weather, it's going to be at least 40 on the pitch. But no, it's like I say, once you get over the fact that you've got to travel, and like I say, I touched on it earlier, you find out what works for you. So I know for a fact that when I get to Canada, when I fly from the UK to Canada, I'm going to stay up as late as I can that day. So I might even go to the bar and have a drink. Or I remember once I went to a concert the night we landed just to stay up late, and then. Because what you'd usually find if you don't do that, you find yourself waking up at like 3 a.m., 4 a.m.
Makes sense, yeah.
That's my personal preference anyway. So like I say, find out what works for me, and then you get over it pretty quick. After a couple of days, you're back to normal. So get over the fact you've got to travel, and it's easy.
Right on. All right, Dano the Mano 16 asked, "What's your favorite moment in a Wolfpack uni?"
That's hard. That probably. I don't know. I've got quite a lot. I think probably the first ever game. I'll name a few. The first ever game going out, representing Toronto, especially I'm talking in Toronto against Oxford. That was special. I think obviously winning promotion to Super League, especially because we didn't win it the year before. I wasn't part of the team, obviously due to injury, but managing to actually turn it round and be part of the team the following year to get promoted, that was special as well. I've had a lot of special moments in that's all like team collectively. I think if I was to choose a personal, probably a personal special moment was when we played Lee. Centurions, and I scored a hat trick at the LSV. But I'd been getting hounded all game from the Lee fans because obviously like I touched on earlier, I'd left Lee probably not in the way that I wanted to leave the club. So I've got a bit of stick from the fans, which hopefully now it's water under the bridge. But I got a lot of stick from the fans all game, and we was taking it as a team all game, getting called rejects and all sorts. And I scored a try in the corner. I ended up shushing the crowd, and a lot of backlash. Came from that. But I was just like, for me, because we'd been taking stick all game, and we'd been getting hounded and slated on social media by these like certain people, and we were getting attacked in the game, and it was just a bit of a special moment for me.
It was. I'm always amazed when I was watching the games on television, and I'd watch the English fans cheer through the whole game. There's no breaks. There's no. When we were arousing the other team, we would a couple barks, and then you lay back and get a couple sips. But I don't know why anybody drinks during the game because everyone's cheering the whole time.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I don't think you're actually allowed to drink during the games in England. I think, well, especially not in the stands. I don't know. I can't remember the last time I went to a rugby game and drunk.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the difference I found is like in England they're always cheering, and it's positive and it's negative. But when you're in Canada, you might hear a couple of, like you say, jeers for the opposition, but then if the opposition scores and it's a good try. Like everyone's going to applaud it in Canada. Everyone's going to cheer for it and be like, "Yeah, that's a nice play, well done." Whereas in England, you're going to get booed. Simple as that.
All right. Well, thanks, Dan, for that one. All right. Greg McNally 1 wants to know Who's the best FIFA player at Leeds in 2015? Honest answers, please. I'm gonna guess this is a little bit of an inside joke.
Uh, well, Greg McNally knows exactly who took home the trophy in 2015, and I think I've still got that trophy upstairs in my room. So if we're going to answer honestly,
Yes.
I'm going to say myself. And
All
I think
right.
closely followed by Andrew Dixon. He's a really good FIFA player. And to be fair, he should have probably won it, but he couldn't deal with the K's ways that year.
So I think what you got to do is definitely make a social media post with you and the trophy, just reminding Mr. McNally about how good you are. 5 years later.
Yeah, I will. You put the post up of the question, and I'll just follow it up with the picture of me holding the trophy.
Perfect. All right. Rugby Bartel 9 wants to know, what's the most exciting game you've ever played in?
Oh God, that's a hard question. I think if I'm gonna probably have to say Ireland against Papua New Guinea in the World Cup in 2017. International, yeah. Simply because we kind of were wrote off before the tournament. People weren't expecting us to succeed, and then we beat Italy in the first game, which was filled with quite a few NRL players. James Tedesco, to name one, who actually plays fullback for Australia now. He played in the Italian side in the World Cup, but we actually managed to beat them. And then it was kind of like, well, hang on a minute. If we go to Papua New Guinea and beat them, we've got a place against England in Melbourne, in quarterfinals. So we obviously, I'm not sure if you know much about PNG, but it's like their number one sport is rugby leagues, and when you get over there, it's quite hostile. It's like it's PNG only. So when we were attacking, the crowd was silence and stuff like that. But when you've never heard noise, I'd never heard noise like it anyway. When PNG has the ball, when you're playing against Papua New Guinea over there, it's crazy. But we came, I think it was, I can't remember the score for the life of me. I think it was like 10-all with like 5 or 3 minutes to go, and we just kicked the ball into the in goal. And Louis McCarthy Scarsbrook, who plays for St Helens, he must have missed it by an absolute caterpillar's eyebrow. It was so small how he missed it. And then they went up the other end, and obviously, defence into attack. And then we managed to defend the kick and then defend their play. And then it was the next set when we was going up the field, and it was a loose ball, and it was kicked on from PNG, and it was just, unfortunately, didn't go our way that day. But that was probably one of the most exciting games I've played in.
That's pretty exciting. Was that back in 2017?
That was 2017, yeah. So we played Italy first in Cairns, in Australia, and we managed to beat them, like I say, which was, I don't think we were favourites at all in that game. And then we had to fly to Papua New Guinea, and we had to beat them. Just because of how the fixtures work and the schedule and that in the World Cup, we had to beat all three teams, I think it was. So we had Italy, Papua New Guinea, and Wales, and we managed to beat Italy and Wales, but we lost in the last few minutes to PNG, and it were a really good game. I might, I'll look back at it over the years when I watch it, and it was a really good game to be a part of.
Yeah, I just looked it up quickly. 14-5 final, but this write-up is actually pretty incredible about how back and forth the game was.
Yeah, it was, like I say, it was one of them. It was complete. You hear rugby experts talk about arm wrestles and stuff like that, and it was just back and forth, really quick game, and we just unfortunately fell up short. But any other day, or a lucky kick, or a lucky, like if Louis had scored that try, it'd have been game over. We'd have beaten PNG on their patch, which would have been a massive achievement, but wasn't meant to be.
Fair enough. Here's a blast from the past. Actually, this next question comes from an ex-Wolfpack player who gave me my first Wolfpack signature. This is Bob's Beswick _ wants to know, what's your favorite GIF? Big pop.
No, so obviously me and Bob. this is funny. This is inside joke. No one else will be laughing except me and Bob. But we have an inside joke when if we were ever like, oh, do you fancy a beer? And we'd like it's disgusting as well. We'd like lick his lips, and there's a Jackie Chan gif of him licking his lips, and me and Bob used to send that relentlessly to each other all the time. And it got to the point where we wouldn't even ask each other if we wanted to go for like a coffee or a beer or anything like that. We'd just send a gift to each other, and they'd be like, "Yeah, all right, see you soon."
Perfect. I love it.
That's funny.
Bob was super nice. I remember him and Quinn were giving out autographs at the team store, and I pulled out this ball, and I got him to sign it. I think I have your autograph on it as well. Fui Fui Moi Moi's on there, and oh my god, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name now. Oh shit. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. I can't remember his name. But he came up to me and he said, Worthington. What's his first name?
Oh, Greg.
Greg Worthington. He goes, you know this is a union ball, right? Fuck. No, I didn't know that. I'm new to this, okay? Thanks, Greg.
Yeah, all right. Greg's a rugby nerd, so it doesn't surprise me that he's putting you up on that.
All right. Next one. That's great. Oh, thanks, Bob, for that question. That's great. All right. Chalupa Carba 52 wants to know, what was your favorite sport to watch in Canada?
Well, I'm a big football fan. I actually got to see the TFC live a couple of times. But if I had to pick, I actually got to see the big man himself play live for Cleveland, LeBron James. We went to watch the Raptors against Cleveland that year, and that was insane. Like obviously seeing LeBron James play live, but seeing the crowd for that game, obviously because it was the playoffs. But obviously then being in Canada, obviously the following year when the Raptors won it, it's strange because when I'm in England, I don't really follow basketball. I don't really watch it. I've not really any interest in it. But when I go to Canada, obviously, it's basketball, it's baseball, it's hockey. Obviously, we're not blessed to be over in Canada when the hockey season's on. Obviously, it doesn't go parallel with our season, unfortunately. But watching basketball over in Canada is were very special, especially like I say, seeing LeBron James, which is a once in a lifetime opportunity, especially for someone from the UK.
Right on. Chalupa Cabra 52 asks as well. He wants to know, what was your welcome to rugby moment? I can imagine it's culturally influenced.
Yeah, I mean, I've played rugby since I was 4 years old, so I've never really had a welcome to rugby kind of moment, unless it means whenever I've been smashed and tackled and stuff like that. That kind of rugby you're playing it now.
Yeah.
But no, I've from a young kid, obviously 4 years old, played rugby. So I played it a long time. And like you say, culturally, it's you either play rugby or you play football, especially from the place, Northern England. You don't really look to rugby union like you do maybe down in the south. It's rugby league's a very much a northern game. So when you're growing up and you're in school, it's either, do you play rugby or do you play football? And I'd like to think I could have tried and played both, but probably not. So I probably made the right decision in playing rugby. Yeah.
But I think, in watching some of your highlights, the footy action helps quite a bit. I was amazed. That's something I didn't know about rugby, and I think it's such an underutilized tool in the game, is the little footer pass.
Yeah, the kicks on. I like to class myself as a very mediocre football player. I'll be one of them players when I obviously retire from rugby. I'd be like, yeah, I could have played football. When I'm sat in the pub and stuff like, yeah, I could have done this, I could have done that. Which realistically, I probably couldn't have done. But no, I've scored a couple of tries. I scored the one at Lamport when I kicked it on, and I actually scored one for Lee Centurions against Wakefield Wildcats. Oh well, Wakefield Trinity, sorry. From the base to the scrum, I kicked that one as well. So, like I say, I like to think I'm a mediocre football player, but probably not.
That's fair. I'll take it. All right, Aaron Chalupa would like to know what player. He wants you to name a player you've always looked up to.
Now I'm going to be quite controversial here, and say that even though don't get me wrong, I love playing rugby, and I am a fan of the game, but I've always been a soccer football guy. I've never really watched rugby. I'm a big Leeds United fan. I've always watched football, but I've never really had someone that I really look up to. I think if I was to try and change their question, um, if I was to name someone who I took most inspiration from in rugby, it'd be Rob Burrow, hands down. And obviously you got your Massimo Sowes, who was unfortunately injured earlier this year and put in a wheelchair, but he's actually learning to walk again now. And the support that the support he's had throughout that, him and Rob, the last couple of years been a difficult time for rugby league, for especially from that perspective. But it's something that you can take a lot of inspiration out, especially as a rugby player. So apologies that I changed the question a bit, but I don't really have anyone that I look up to. So.
That's okay. I can be that for you, Liam. It's fine.
Yeah, I look up to you. Yeah.
Thanks, buddy. All right. Last question from DCoop07. He wants to know, what team do you support?
In what sport is he talking?
It's a good question. He doesn't say. Daniel Coop, but I don't have any other information. I'm going to imagine it's in rugby, but he doesn't specify in the question. But I guess overall, I mean, why don't you go across the gamut of the sports you follow?
Well, if I was to pick a team in rugby, it would be Toronto. I would say I'll always be a fan. Obviously, we've touched on it earlier. Me being having a special place with me is Toronto. So even though I'm not playing for Toronto the next year or whatever, and I'll still be a fan of the club, and that's probably the team that I'll always gun for and want to succeed. And then obviously football, I've just said Leeds United, diehard Leeds United fan.
Right on.
But apart from that, any other sports really, don't really have a team. Just football and well, just Leeds and Toronto Wolfpack. If I had to say basketball, I'll say the Raptors, just because of.
All right. Well, you'll gain a lot of fan support just supporting the Raptors and their current run. So safe bet there, my man. Yeah. And of course the Leafs and the Blue Jays, right?
Yeah, well, I've been to a few Blue Jays games as well, and I did enjoy that, but never got to go to a hockey game, which I am gutted about. Yeah, the Maple Leafs. Never, my man. That's it. Yeah. Well, I've always said that one day I will come back to Toronto at some point, whether it's as a fan or as an opposing player. I will be there. So I can catch a Leaf game then.
Hopefully a player. Let's hope. Or sorry, let's hope as a fan, not a player.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to kind of steer this towards the end of the interview, but we kind of touched on it. When I saw your Instagram and noticed that you had an Oasis lyric as part of your intro, I was blown away. What are the chances? My favorite rugby player and my favorite all-time band. Could this actually be? Is this a dream? What's happening right now?
Massive number one. Well, obviously I'm not number one. I think you might be the number one fan of Oasis, but yeah,
it's true. It is me. Yes.
Thing is though, is always like, oh, they all sound the same, and I'm just like, oh my God, can't say that.
Get her out of here.
Yeah.
Get her out. Kick her out. It's very tough because a band forms their own sound, and the Oasis sound, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's there's never a dull moment in any of their songs, because there's always something going on. So why don't you give me a couple of your favorite tunes? Of course, I'm gonna guess like "Live Forever" is gonna be a big tune for you.
No.
No? Okay.
No.
All right. Okay, hold on.
Don't get me wrong. It's still a big tune.
I
was actually blessed with watching Noel Gallagher in Toronto when he was there with the Smashing Pumpkins. So I went and watched them. Managed to watch Noel Gallagher, and I managed to watch Liam Gallagher earlier this year.
Oh, his new album is so good.
Yeah, they were both really good, but they need to get back together. I think if they got back together, They better sell out stadiums for weeks and weeks. But
I think so too.
Maybe some things are just left, how they were.
I think that's how Noel feels about it. But can you imagine this? Could you imagine they do a reunion tour once this COVID thing is under control, and they go back at Nepworth, and they bring back some of the old band. I know that Bonehead and Liam are doing things together again. So I gotta imagine, at some point something big's gonna happen, and they're gonna be part of it.
Do you know something? I don't really want to rain on your parade either, but when the Manchester terrorist attack happened. I genuinely thought, when it happened in Manchester Arena, I thought this is now or never. I think perfect time for Oasis to get back together and do a concert, and obviously raise some funds or whatever. And I thought if they don't get back together for this, I just can't see them getting back together again. So hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong, because I will spend a stupid amount of money to go see them, but. So they won't be listening, but if they are listening, get back together.
Yeah, I agree totally, and make sure you hit Toronto at least once. I appreciate that. I saw them once in 2005, and it was so good, and one of my favorite moments and favorite concerts easily. And I've seen Noel twice live, but I haven't seen Liam. When he came to the city, I got young kids. It's tough to get out to a concert at this point. So
yeah.
Okay, so what's your favorite tune then?
It's hard to say. I can't. I think Supersonic is up there.
Supersonic has to be it. Yeah. Some might say is always a favorite of mine.
But when I got married, my first dance song was "Slide Away." So that has a special place as well. So it's just too many.
Give it all you got.
Yeah, there's just too many to choose from. So when someone says to me like, "What's your favorite song?" It's just like. I don't think I could choose. I think if I had to choose, and this is only because I've heard it live and how good it was live, it'd probably be Rock and Roll Star.
Oh, that's really good too. One tune I always liked that never really hit off was Lord Don't Slow Me Down. It came out, I think 2000. Such a good band. It kind of has a bluesy kind of feel, like a New Orleansy kind of feel. But I always a lot of noise going on in that song, and really good bass drum on it. Anyways, I digress.
Yeah.
Liam, I'm gonna wrap this sucker up. I appreciate this so much, my man. This has actually been a goal of mine for a long time. So thank you for helping me achieve one of my goals. And I hope everyone listening to this enjoys it. My question to you is with things looking the way they do, maybe one day back in Toronto, if you do, can I get a message? Can we go have a pint at some point and just talk about the good old days?
100%, of course we can. Like I said, I'll definitely be in Toronto at some point, and when I am, I'll reach out for sure.
Yeah, maybe I'll have to give you a haircut. Maybe fix that haircut of yours.
Maybe you can be the guy that cuts it.
Yeah, that's a lot to pay. If you have a hard time paying $50 for a haircut, flying back to the 6 to get a haircut is gonna be even more expensive.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, my man. Thank you so much for doing this, and we'll reach out on all the socials. And if you enjoyed this, please follow Liam K at Liam K Ways on Instagram. Good follow, and hopefully we can get some more embarrassing photos and videos of guys from the Wolfpack.
100%. Cheers, guys.
All right. All right, Liam, I'm going to hang up and I'm going to call you back on video, okay?
Yep, cool, bro.
Excellent.